Good night. Well, it's 7 o'clock. Hope you guys are my two shows I made earlier today. Yeah, see you guys. When I showed you guys my snippet of, when I show you guys my snippet of their unique, I had a few typos. I went back and I fixed it, obviously. Like the scene when he's like, this is a school that attended. I was supposed to say Meg. I changed it to Meg. And the scene when Don's like, yeah, I took the course right before I moved here. I was supposed to say right before I moved up here. I fixed it. I went over it and I fixed it, obviously, the typos. Excuse, sometimes I might forget to type in words. You have to be, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed it. That was pretty sick. Yeah, it's pretty sick. But it's not Zane's. Zane's is better, obviously. Nathan Rook won 5 games in a row with the BC Lions. Somebody tells me the BC Lions have a shot at making it to the Grey Cup, man. If Nathan Rook could win the Grey Cup as a Canadian quarterback, man, that's like history, right? Last Canadian quarterback to win a Grey Cup was Russ Jackson in the 60s, man. And no Canadian quarterback has ever taken their team to the Grey Cup because in the CFL for decades, there's never been any Canadian quarterbacks until now. So there was a Canadian quarterback in the 60s, Russ Jackson. And then from the 60s all the way to the 2020s, it was all the American guys. And finally, Brandon Bridge paved the way for Canadian quarterbacks in the modern, in the 2000, like in the later years, obviously, in this time. And now you have Nathan Rourke, obviously, who's doing amazing, by the way. He won 5 straight games with the BC Lions, man. Nathan Rourke, he's killing the league. He has, I think, 5,000. Nathan Rourke will pass for 5,000 plus yards in the CFL. Yeah, amazing quarterback. Canadian, too. That's why I'm rooting for him, too. After this video, I'm going to watch the highlights, the BC Lions game that he played yesterday. I'm going to watch the highlights, obviously, of. Do you watch the CFL games, Ivan? No, I just watched the highlights. I only watched BC Lion highlights. And I saw the Edmonton highlights. I want to see how good Trey Ford did, but I mean, Trey Ford, they benched him after, I think, 4 games. They benched him. You know. Yeah. So I'll talk a bit about the CFL, and after that, I'm going to go back to talking about my book, Zanis. Obviously. Oh, do you think the CFL will ever get rid of the American talent? No, they're never going to do that. The CFL is blinded by the American talent. This has been going on for decades since the league started. The Canadian Football League always had this blindness of the American talent because the NFL grew in popularity in the States. Yeah, those guys are so talented, we want to get some of that talent up here. But the CFL can't get the best talent in the States because all the best talent in the States goes to the NFL. So they get the leftovers of that amazing talent, obviously. The leftover talent the CFL gets is still amazing talent. But it's not like the talent that the NFL has. The NFL has the best talent in America. CFL has the leftover talent in America, obviously, that they get. They have the best talent in Canada, but they don't trust their own nationality to put on great quality football for the people of Canada. So they bring in the American guys because they have their envy, their blindness of the American talent, obviously. Oh, even that's cold. I know. They don't trust the best Canadian players in Canada. Yeah, obviously. The fact that the CFL's been doing this for decades, they don't trust the best players in Canada who they draft. The best players in Canada, the best is the best in Canada, Canadian players who they draft to put on good quality football for the people of Canada. That's why they bring in the American guys, because they want better quality football. Yeah, if it's quality football, I get that, CFL. You know the American guys you bring up here are very talented players. They really are. They're amazing players. They're American. They're not Canadian people. They're not Canadian players, man. The fans of Canada don't know any of these guys. And you have no choice but to mark them CFL if you want them to be the stars. Yeah, we know that. Yeah, if you want these American guys to be the stars of your league CFL, you have no choice but to market them to the Canadian people. Don't make them say yeah. And you're not seeing much growth, so obviously something's not working out here. I'm saying yeah. Samsara. Yeah. Why is the CFL seeing minimal growth? I told you I have two answers. Either there's just not that big of a market demand for Canadian football in Canada, which is true. There isn't that there is no like either there isn't that big of a demand for football in Canada, regardless of Canadian or American, or there is a little bit of a bigger market for it in Canada, whereby the league can make more money, maybe 200, $300 million more, but it's with the Canadian talent, not the American talent that they bring up here. Because even though the American guys you bring up here are very talented players, they're unknown. They're unknowns to the Canadian people. See, the NFL talent is known talent to the American people, to the NFL fans. NFL Europe, the European talent, the best European talent are known talent to the people of Europe. Pro football in Japan is known talent to the people of Japan. And all of a sudden, the CFL, even though they draft the best Canadian players in Canada who are more known talent to the Canadian people, only a few of them are stars, and they bring up all these unknowns from the States to be the stars up here. And they're relying blindly on the unknown, amazing American talent to grow their league in Canada. But I mean, it's not working. So obviously they're seeing a minimal growth, but they're not seeing substantial growth. That's my point, right? The league is growing by 10, maybe 50 million every year. Like, that's not really growth. Growth is like at least 35, 40 million a year. Your league is making more. Your league can make 40 million more every year, 35, 40 million a year. That's substantial growth. But like 10 million, 15 million is not really substantial growth. That's minimal growth, obviously. Because the fans in Canada don't know anything about these American guys, man. They're unknown. They're talented, but they're unknown. They don't have much market value up here, these American guys. That's just the truth. They don't, because they're American, obviously. Or even they're very talented. Yeah, I know, Steve, you're blinded by the American talent. You're blinded by the American talent, yeah. You're blind. Visa, Ivan, that's cool, man. Is it really like that up in your pro league in Canada? Yeah, VJ, it is, man. Obviously. I'm not lying, man. If I was CFL commissioner, if I was hired as CFL commissioner, I would pitch this to the committee. I'll have everything planned out to grow the league if I do not have the keys of the speaking. I would pitch what I did with Herb Brooks. Okay, I want the best players in Canada to have better coaching, better off-season training, more intense off-season training. That way you get a better performance on the field. I want the coaches to really coach the Canadian quarterbacks. Ivan, do you want all the coaches to be Canadian? No. For the coaches, it doesn't matter. Ex-players who played in the league could be coaches, GMs. The GMs and coaches, it doesn't matter. It's good to balance Canadian coaches with American coaches. It's good to have both, obviously. The coaches, the GMs, it doesn't matter. They could be American, Canadian, it doesn't matter. But the players, I believe, the product should be the Canadian. The majority should be the Canadian players, the Canadian star players. It's the Canadian Football League, guys. This is a Canadian branded football league. The majority of your star, it's common sense, man. The majority of your star players should be the Canadian players, not fucking American players, man. Yeah, man. They're the only league that does this. And you wonder why your league's not growing CFL. Oh, you said, yeah. Yeah. My guys, I believe this league can grow to a $550, $600 million business in 15, 20 years. In 20 years, this can double in revenue to $600 million. I think your peak CFL is $600 million in revenue around there. That's probably the CFL's peak. $600 million in revenue. Sarah? Because football is just not that popular in Canada compared to hockey. Not even close, right? Yeah. The NFL is more popular than the CFL in Canada now. CFL used to be more popular than the NFL, but the NFL now surpassed the CFL in popularity in Canada, man. That's sad, man. The CFL should be beating out the NFL in Canada, right? And yet it's not. So obviously something is not right, man. Ivan, is it about the quality of the game? No, it's not about. The CFL thinks that they put on amazing quality football. That's how they grow the league. But they've been putting on quality football for decades, with bringing up all these American players. They're seeing minimal growth. So obviously quality is not the issue. It has to be No, Hams. It has to be something else. There has to be another reason. There has to be a key to fixing the league's growth, man. The financial struggles. Yeah, some sorry. Financial struggles and growth. Because the CFL is still a successful league. But compared to the NFL, it's what? It's not even close, right? That's my point, right? Yeah. You know, Ivan, how do you want to fix the league? I'm like, okay, you want me to tell the truth? Yeah, okay, you know all the American players you bring up here? Yeah, you have to get rid of them. They're like, Ivan, are you crazy? You want to get rid of the American talent? No, guys, get rid of them. To get rid of your blindness and have the best players in Canada compete for the Grey Cup and market them well and have better offseason training and better coaching by the coaches, and your league will grow. And if the league does grow, guys, you can now raise the cap to 8-9 million. You can pay the Canadian star players more. And more Canadian companies will be willing to endorse your league CFL. More bigger Canadian companies will be willing to endorse and sponsor your league because it's now Canadian homegrown talent. And the star players like quarterbacks and receivers and running backs and linebackers, they can get bigger endorsement deals because it's easier to endorse homegrown Canadian talent to Canadian people than unknown American players who the fans of Canada know nothing about. Some Sarah. Because they're from a different country. They may be talented, but like, they're American. They're not from here, man. They're from a different country. The fans of Canada don't know anything about these guys. And that's why the CFL, they do their very best. They do all these documentaries about them. That way they give you more information about them. But like, the fans of Canada don't care that much. So obviously something's not right. Ivan, what's the key position for the Canadian players? It's all about the quarterbacks. Just like the NFL, the most popular players in the league are the quarterbacks too. Patrick Mahomes is the most famous quarterback in the NFL. Everyone's talking about Patrick Mahomes in the NFL, right? How he's like the best football player in the world. Yeah. Some are even saying he's better than Tom Brady. I don't think he is as good as Tom. He's more athletic than Tom Brady, but Tom Brady's better than Patrick Mahomes. Until Patrick Mahomes can win 7 Super Bowls, then you can talk. But Patrick Mahomes is not Tom Brady, but Patrick Mahomes is like the most famous player in the NFL right now. Everybody's talking about Patrick Mahomes, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's all about the quarterbacks, man. The Canadian quarterbacks, yeah, the Canadian quarterbacks. Market the other positions too, but mainly market the Canadian quarterbacks. Do a nationwide commercial of the Canadian quarterbacks who got drafted. They're franchise players now. And you need to really, really coach them well. That way they grow. They're better players, obviously. Some saying. And your league will double in revenue in like 15, 20 years. I know I'm doing, guys. Well, and how long do you think it will take the league to double to $500 million plus? At least 15 plus. You got to at least give at least 15 years for it to get to $500 million. But $400 million, $450, that can happen in even 10 years. But 15, 20 years, it can double in revenue to $600 million if you just market the Canadian homegrown talent, obviously. Market them at the universities. For the CIS games, thousands of fans at the university watch the football games. They love these Canadian players, and the whole university knows these players got drafted. But I guarantee you, some of the fans, even though they know the players got drafted and they're fans of them and everything, they'll go to the game or they watch television. Okay, this guy got drafted. I'm going to tune into the game to see how well this draft player does. And barely any of these Canadian drafted players in the CFL are star players. Yeah, even though they got drafted, the whole thing is bullshit. All these American guys are starting. I don't know anything about these guys. They don't tune into the games, man. That's my answer. You want to watch CFL, your league's not quite knowing them, so yeah. Sarah? Yeah, but you need to give the American players an opportunity to play football. Yeah, but what about the Canadian players? We do know. What I mean, like, opportunity, I mean actually be star players, not like special teams and sitting on a bench, man. No, I mean like actually being star players. Why do you care more about the American guys who are not even from, who never want to be here to play pro football over your own Canadian drafted players, your own draft picks, man? Players who you drafted in your fucking league. Like, yeah. I just don't get it. Oh, even they're not as talented. No. They're talented. You're just blinded by the American talent. That's why when you compare the NFL to the Canadian talent, when you do that, that's why you think it's not good enough because you're blinded by the American talent. That's why I would say, yeah, man, if you want to get rid of your American blindness and your bias, you have to get rid of these guys. That way your blindness goes away. Because the Canadian players are more than good enough to put on amazing volleyball for the people of Canada. Obviously. As all these other pro leagues around the world, all the star players playing in that league are all people from that country, man. The star players. And they're good enough for those people. And those players are not even close to being as good as the Canadian players. For some reason, CFL, the only league that does that, they don't believe the Canadian players are good enough to put on quality football. Even, man, we can lose money, man, if we do this. I'm like, no, trust me, man, I know I'm doing, man. You market the Canadian talent to the universities, and you put a big billboard in front of each CFL stadium, witness homegrown talent. You have a picture of the Canadian quarterback, you know what I'm saying, and you market them in universities. People in Canada, more people will tune in. Don't do it, man. The quality will dip, but the value of your brand will go up because now you're promoting the Canadian brand. Obviously, not the American brand in Canada. No, the Canadian brand in Canada. The Canadian people. You'll make more money. I don't do it on Hamilton. Yeah. Well, Ivan, how do you know there's a bigger? How do you know it'll be more popular, Ivan? Mate, I'll tell Steve, look, mate, you guys know the Paddington game in Ottawa? Yeah, we know about that, Ivan. Yeah. There's something in Ottawa called the Paddington game. There's something in Ottawa called the Paddington game, where you have University of Ottawa and you have Carleton University, the two university football teams. They compete, and one side is Ottawa U, the other side is Carleton Ravens, and the whole thing is packed with 5,000 university kids who go to that Paddington game, and that's with little marketing. That's with very, very little marketing. Obviously, and the whole thing is packed. So you're telling me if you do nationwide commercials of all these quarterbacks who got drafted, and you have the CFL pound talk about the CFL's now Canada and witness homegrown talent, the best players in Canada play. You're telling me this thing won't be big in 10, 15 years? I think it could be huge, man. You just market it well, and you need to market them at universities. Have the draft picks speak at the universities they went to. Market them that way. You know what I'm saying. And when these players get drafted, all the university students, all the 27 university schools that know all these players got drafted, they're now that they know the CFL's Canada, they know a lot of these guys are going to be stars, more people will tune into the games on television. The game attendance, you don't have to worry about that. The fans go, yeah, we're not worried about the game attendance. We know a lot of the university kids and all these guys will support their fans of their university players who got drafted. It's the television ratings are about. Yeah, that's what the CFL's worried about. It's not the game attendance, because the CIS doesn't struggle with game attendance. The thousands of kids at the universities go see the university football players play. Obviously, yeah, we're not worried about the game attendance. We know the fans will come to the game. The games, yeah. If you have just the homegrown Canadian talent, I guarantee you all your game CFO will be packed, man. You're gonna have a packed house every single game, sold out crowds, man. There's a lot of the university students, a lot of Canadian football fans will go support their Canadian players because they know they're all stars. Obviously, we're not worried about the game attendance. We're not worried about that. It's the television ratings we're worried about, Ivan. I think your television ratings will double, guys, with the Canadian talent. It'll double. But the CFL has that dilemma. Yeah, it has potential to be big, but because the quality will go down, we're scared less people will tune into the game because it's not as entertaining football. I'm like, nah, guys, it's not about the quality of your football game. It's something else. Either the fans kind of just don't care about Canadian football, or there is a bigger market for it, but it's not with your American star players. It's with the Canadian star players. I don't mean to be an asshole. It's just the truth. Don't hate him. Yeah. Sarah? Yeah. Yeah, man. Samsara? Ivan, you need to give the American players who didn't get probably play for football. Guys, there's the Arena Football League. There was the XFL. Those players can play there. That's still good, right? If you can be a star player in the Arena Football League, don't hang I'm saying the XFL, that's still a success. Even though it's a minor league, it's still a pretty good success, obviously. So, Sarah. Let me ask you a question, CFL. Be honest, yeah. Does the NFL really give us the best Canadian players in Canada opportunity to play football? I think they don't know. In the history of the NFL, there was maybe, I don't know, 5 starting Canadian players who actually started in the NFL. Luke Wilson, he was drafted, he started. The O-lineman from McGill was a starter. And maybe 3 other Canadian players in the history of NFL got to be starting players. And none of them are even in the Hall of Fame. So if the NFL is limiting us Canadian players to play there, why should we limit the Canadian players who are drafted an opportunity to play football? I mean be stars, and give all these American guys who get an opportunity to play football here when the NFL doesn't even give us Canadian players an opportunity to play down there. How's that fair? You've got a good point there. The NFL doesn't really care about the Canadian players, and they have a bias, so don't forget that, right? It doesn't really matter how good you are as a Canadian. Chances are the NFL will put you on the practice roster because they have a bias towards Canadian players. Yeah, we do. We don't like you Canadian guys. As Enoch Mwaba and Nathan Rourke are good examples of that, right? Yeah. Nathan Rourke did amazing in the preseason. He scored on a touchdown drive in the fucking NFL as a Canadian. They put him on the fucking practice roster, and the other American guy who played, he was like 3rd string. So obviously the NFL has a bias towards Canadian players. And Enoch Mwamba led his entire team in tackles for the preseason. And they put him on the practice roster. And the other guys who did not have as much tackles as him, they made the team. So obviously the NFL has a bias. Yeah, all right, we do. We don't like you Canadian guys. Yeah, so if the NFL is limiting us Canadian players opportunity to really start and play in the NFL, then why are you giving all these American guys who didn't get their opportunity an opportunity to be stars up here when you should be giving the Canadian players who you drafted to be the stars up here? Guys can say, you're a genius, you know how to make a thing. You know, and the community's all like, yeah, man, you really know how to make a think, man. Holy shit, man, you are a smart man. You put our arguments to shame. Yes, I do. And CFL, you're the only league, you're the only pro football league in the entire world that does this, man. Whereby your own drafted players are not, majority of them are not stars. It's players from a different country because you're blinded by the NFL's talent, obviously. Yeah, we can't get the best players in America because those guys all go to the NFL. So let's bring in the leftover guys and have them put on a show on television, and hopefully this is how we go to the league because it's quality football. I get that. The CFL obviously thinks because the American players put on a little bit more of a show and it's more quality football, that's how they grow the league. I get that, but obviously quality is not the issue, CFL. But these American players you bring up here are fucking amazing players. They really do put on a show almost as good as the NFL, and yet your league is seeing minimal growth, so obviously something is not right. There has to be a key to fixing it. Something is not right. Am I right, 24 Ivan? And that's true. Quality's not the issue. Quality's not the issue. The CFL is quality football. Quality is not the issue. It's something else, man. I believe it's the American talent problem in the league. Obviously, it's the American talent problem. That's my answer. Don't Hamilton. Yeah. Sarah? Yeah, give me a sec, guys. I'm going to go up to get some coffee. I hope you guys on my show. Back in a sec. Don't hang him, son. I'll talk more about my book and I'm going to end the video. guys. Went to get my coffee. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, if the CFL can grow to a 400, $450 million business, they can raise the cap to like $8.59 million. And with a $9 million cap, they can now pay the star quarterbacks like $1 million a year. And like minimum maybe the ones who are not as good make 600,000, which is what they peak at now, and the better ones can make like $1 million a year. And the star receivers make like 600,000, 500,000. Defensive players make 350, 400,000. They can make more, 450,000. And the good players now can make like 200,000, 180,000. Like that's how much star players make in the CFL. They make like 180, 200,000, 150,000, 300,000, 400,000. That's how much the star players make in the CFL right now, right? Yeah. And the quarterbacks make more, obviously. Like guys, you're never going to be the NFL. You're never going to be able to compete with the NFL. But if you can grow your league to a $500 million business, you can raise your cap to $9 million. Even $10 million, and the star quarterbacks make like $1 million, $2 million, $3 million in the CFL, man. And you're going to get bigger endorsement deals for the Canadian players. It's easier to endorse the Canadian players CFL than the American guys, because the American guys don't have much market value up here. They're unknown talent. They're American players. They have a lot of value in talent, but they don't have much market value up here because they're from a different country. Guys from Sarah. Oh, yeah. So I have 3 beers left. My coffee's cold. It's all good. I don't feel like going up because I'm lazy. Yeah. So you think the CFL's peak is probably around that 550, 600 million range. 600 million is the CFL's peak. I don't think it'll get any. Yeah, once you guys hit 600 million, you guys are probably going to stay there. Stay there around that range. You're not going to peak any higher than that because the market for football is just not that big in Canada, obviously. But in 10 years, you can grow it to 400, 450. And in 15, 20 years, you can grow it to 550, at least 500, 550 million. And that's probably your peak CFL. Obviously, but I believe the key to fixing the problem in your league is it's the Canadian talent CFL. The answer is right in front of your face, man. Like it's common sense, man. If your Canadian Football League is a Canadian brand in Canada, and the millions of fans who watch your games are Canadian, it's common sense. You market, you have the majority of your star players be your draft picks, your star Canadian players, not these American guys who may be very talented, very amazing players, obviously, who are unknowns to the Canadian people. Like it's common sense. It's business 101 CFL. And you wonder why, but the CFL's blind by American now. They don't care. We don't care, Ivan. We know the Canadians have a higher market value because they're known talent, they're Canadian, we can relate to them. But they're not as talented. The American guys, we've got to bring them up. We're going to have to put on a show for us equal games, Ivan. He was blind by the American talent. Ivan, that's cold, I know. Obviously. Only league that does that, man. Whereby the majority of their star players are players from a different country, not their own Canadian draft picks. Yeah, draft the best players in Canada, but close the door on them. Do not let them be stars. Bring all the American guys over here and have them be the stars of what they put on quality football. And that's how we grow the league. Limit the Canadian players' opportunity to shine up here. Yeah, because they're not good enough for us. No, they're good enough. You're just blinded by the American talent, CFL. You're blinded by the American talent. Obviously, some sour. You would tell the CFL committee that, yeah, but yeah, I believe I can grow your league to a $450 million a year business in 10 years. I knew you think that, yes, man, I have a genius business marketing strategy. I think I can grow this. Obviously, and they will laugh me off as crazy, and they do what I say, and I pull it off. In 10 years, the league made like, I don't know, 150 million more in revenue. It's made like $450 million a year in revenue. The league's in a healthier position. Yeah, don't hate me, yeah. And the YouTube channels are now more popular now that they're talking about the Canadian franchise players. Yeah. You guys also got to find a way to boost your social media, because your social media CFL, I don't mean to be an asshole, it's a joke, man. Like, it's a professional football league. Your social media is not that popular. You need to really find a way to promote that. And I believe the best way to really grow it is by marketing the Canadian players, not these American guys. That's how you grow it. Yeah, you have to really push the marketing of your social media too, to grow it, obviously, more. Oh, Hamilton, yeah. I'm sorry. So if the CFL were just Canadian players, you'd be watching the games. Oh yeah, I'll be watching all the games. I'd be a big fan, especially of the quarterbacks. Oh my God, this CIS quarterback got drafted. He's a franchise player. I'll tune to the game. I want to see which quarterback takes his team to the Grey Cup. I'd be more drawn to the games. The quality will dip a little bit, but it's still entertaining football, man. I've seen CIS games. They're fucking entertaining games. And those are not even the best players in Canada, CFL. The players you draft CFL are the greatest players in Canada. They're not the CIS games may be very entertaining games, but those are not the best players in Canada. Only like one or two guys are eligible for the CFL draft. And the rest don't make it. And a few of them are unsigned, undrafted free agents, but the CFL only drafts like 63 of the best Canadian players around. There's 65 players every year, 66 players every year from college football in Canada. And they get to play pro football, and the other hundreds of athletes don't make it, obviously. Sarah. I've knew some Canadian players get Europe opportunities. Yeah, they do, but they turn it down. They don't want to play pro football in Europe. The Canadian players, football players, their dream is playing here. They don't care about the NFL. They don't care about European football. They want to play here. As my oldest stepbrother got offered a pro football opportunity in Japan to play pro football in Japan, they offered him like $80,000 a year, and he turned it down because no Canadian player wants to play pro football because after the NFL and the CFL, there's a huge drop in quality. Well, no, Japan is pretty close to the CFL, as the Japanese are almost as good as our Canadian. They're almost as good as our Canadians, and even the Americans. Man, they beat the American the Americans. Obviously, the Americans are number one. The Canadians are number two, and the Japanese are a very, very close third. They're almost as good as our Canadian players. The Japanese players are amazing players. They beat your Team USA guys. I'm not lying. They beat your Team USA, your U20 Team USA, right? They beat you guys. They're fucking amazing football players. Yeah, they almost beat our Team Canada. Yeah. Yeah. And now you can actually have a bunch of Canadian football players who can become legends up here. All these quarterbacks break. They talk about this CIS quarterback. He broke Anthony Calvillo's record or something like that. He broke Matt Dunnigan's record. This Canadian receiver broke Milt Steagle's record. This running back broke Pinball Cummings record, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, the thing could be huge, man. Obviously. I'm saying? And my goal would be to make a CFL game too. But if the CFL can grow to a 500, 600 million year revenue, they can now, it's now a big enough market to make a CFL game. It won't be as good as the NFL, the Madden game, obviously, but for a good 40 million, you can make, for a good 30 million, 40 million, 35 million, 40 million, you can make a CFL game. That would be my next goal. Yeah, my next goal would be to make a game too. That's how you grow the league. Oh, yeah, I'm saying, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. See, if we're not we're not going to do that, man. The Americans are just too talented. They're not good enough for us. I mean, yeah, you guys downgrade your own Canadian talent is ridiculous, man. When I see CIS games, when I saw CIS games, that was entertaining for me as a Canadian. I was entertained watching the game. I don't get it, man. And the fans all the thousands of university fans who go to the CIS games, the Panda game, that's entertaining enough for the university kids when they watch it. And those are not even the best players in Canada, man. Only like one or two guys are eligible for the draft every year for each university Canadian football college team. Ugh. So the CFL thing is because of the quality. Yeah, if the quality dips, our revenue will dip by it. No, guys, it's not about the quality of your game. It's not. I know it's not about the quality because the CFL has been putting on quality football for years, for decades, man, for 50, 60 years. They've been bringing up these American guys, putting on quality football almost as good as the NFL, and yet they're not seeing much growth. So obviously it's not quality. It has to be something else. It's not about the quality of the football game. It has to be about something else. It's not about the quality. And I believe it's the American talent problem that you have in your league, CFL. Your league is just bombarded with all these American star players who are amazing players, but they're unknowns to the Canadian people. You guys, I'm saying, I don't think I'm saying, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Ivan, that's cold, man. I know. Yeah, the CFL gives the undrafted NFL guys the opportunity to be the stars up in Canada over their own Canadian drafted players. I know, and you wonder why CFL leagues aren't growing. Like open your eyes, man. It's common sense, man. If if you're gonna have the undrafted NFL guys be the stars up here in Canada over their own Canadian draft picks, and you're pissed off that your draft is not popular and why the fans don't take your draft seriously, it's common sense. CFL, the Canadians don't take your draft seriously because it's a crapshoot. They know all these players who get drafted. It's all noise. You build the buzz and it's all noise. And I'm saying this pick is a 6-0 pick of the CFL draft. Congratulations, I'm saying it's noise, man. Half these guys are going to be released, are going to get released, and most of them are going to end up playing special teams or they're on the practice roster and they get limited reps. First round picks, they can't take the draft seriously, CFL, because of your American talent problem. And yeah, there you go. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, man, if you want your draft to be more popular, you have to market it better. And if you get rid of the American talent, now all the fans who watch the draft, they know a lot of these players who get drafted, especially the first, second, third round picks, a lot of these guys are going to be franchise amazing players in the CFL, especially the quarterbacks. And now the CFL can now scout Canadian quarterbacks who are playing the NCAA and the CIS, and they can now be franchise players. And you market them to universities, and more people will tune into the games. And all I'm doing, man. You have to market them to the universities. Very important. Market them at all the Canadian universities, the 27 CIS universities. It's called U Sports now, but I mean the CIS universities, right? That's the old name, right? Yeah. Yeah. It was not about the CFL. The CFL will never get rid of the American Talent, anyways, right? But that's my ultimate dream for the CFL, Williamson. And I think that would work, but I mean, a lot of fans disagree with me. That's a bad idea, man. The quality will dip. Well, all you Canadian football fans who believe that the Canadian players are not good enough to put on good quality football, shame on you. You also downgrade your own Canadian talent. You're also blinded by the American talent too. As every league in the world trusts their own nationality to put on good quality football for their own country, but the CFL is the only league that doesn't do that. They don't trust their own nationality to put on good enough quality football for the Canadians. The Canadian people, the only league that thinks like that because they're blinded by their next door neighbors in America, obviously. Yeah. Before I talk about my book for a sec, why do you think the CFL is the only league that does this? I think because Canada and America are next door neighbors, right? And the NFL is the number one most popular pro league in the world. The CFL is a bit jealous of that. That's why they think if they want to have their league be huge in Canada, we should bring in the leftovers of the NFL's talent, the guys who didn't get an NFL to bring them up here and have them be the stars. Hopefully, our league become huge in Canada. That's why they do. That's why they're blinded by the talent because they're next door neighbors of America. Of America, Canada is the next door neighbor of America, right? That's why they're jealous, obviously, a little bit jealous of America's football talent. They don't think their own talent's good enough. That's why they bring in talent from a different country to be the stars up here. The only league that does this, man. Very weird. I don't get it. Yeah. Oh, even that. It's cold, man. I know. They're the only league that does that. Yeah, all the pro leagues in the world, the best players are from that country, yes. Pro football in Japan, best players are all the best players in Japan. NFL Europe, it's all the greatest players in Europe. The NFL is the greatest players in America. And the CFL, they do draft the greatest players in Canada, but barely any of them get to be stars. And they bring up all these American guys and they have them be the stars up here in Canada. And they market them to Canadian people and they wonder why the league's not growing. I mean, I think that's business 101, don't you? I'm saying, yeah. Oh, you're a genius, I know. Sorry. It was not about CFL. Well, do you think Zanes will be the best man ever written? Yes, it will, man. Zanes will be the best man ever written. And once you guys read Zanis, they're never going to be the same. And what? Zanis will what? Will what? Once you read Last Hope for Zanis, every fantasy book that you read will be a little bit of a letdown when you read it. I won't spoil so for you. Every fantasy book that you read will be a little bit of a letdown when you read it. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like, what about Their Unique? I don't know about Their Unique. Their Unique, I'll know how good it is when I finish it, if I finish it. But I mean, I don't really care about Their Unique being the greatest fans already. I just want it to be a masterpiece and the fans love it. If it's not the greatest fans all written, that's fine. I don't care if it's not the greatest fans all written. I just greatest ones all written. I just want it to be good and to be a masterpiece and the fans to love it. That's what I'm saying. And I hope you guys are impressed what I showed you so far for Their Unique. And I hope you're impressed what I showed you so far for Zanis, obviously. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I didn't show us more. No, I'm not showing more for Zanis. Zero. I'm being serious. I showed you guys enough. I don't want to spoil story for you, man. You don't really know what's going on, guys, but I don't want to spoil story for you. So let me read the book. That's why I didn't show you Volume 3. That's why I didn't show you Volume 3. I'm sorry. Yeah. Fortunately, Caviar, if you were CFO commissioner, hypothetically speaking, you would pitch this to the committee, to the board of governors. Yes, I would. They would laugh me off as crazy. I'm like, yeah, put them through better conditioning, training, coaching, and have the offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators come up with an amazing system to make the game more entertaining, make this the playing system more entertaining, the football playing system more entertaining. Do that. And then market them. This thing could be huge in 20 years, 10 years, 10, 15 years. And they would say, no, if you don't do this, I'm stepping down as CFO commissioner. I can't find any other way to grow a league with the American talent. Obviously, Ivan, the American talent's the way to go. Okay, you want to grow a league with the American talent? Yes, Ivan, the very talent. Okay, what's your business strategy of having substantial growth by marketing, by having the majority of your star players be the American product? What's your business strategy of growing this thing in Canada? And they're like, we don't have an, you don't have an answer because you know what I'm saying is true. You tried everything you could with all these American guys, and people in Canada don't really care that much, so obviously something is not right. I was like, yeah. Sarah? Yeah. Sarah? No, he said, yeah. Yeah. All right, does the CFO really try their best to market their product? Oh yeah, they do. They do, man. They do the documentaries about them. They try to move you with the story. It is a moving story. It's a touching and beautiful story. I get it. And they really market them on the TSN promo thing. Like you have the CFL on TSN panel, you know what I'm saying, and they always like market, you know what I'm saying, like, you know what I'm saying, this quarterback is the best quarterback in the league. This receiver is the best receiver in the league. This running back is the best running back in the league. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. This linebacker is the best linebacker in the league. You know what I'm saying? They talk and everything. And you get this CFL on TSN promo, you have a picture of like the American quarterback. Watch the CFL on TSN, and they have the pictures of them and everything. They do their very best to market these guys, and yeah, they're not getting much television viewership for years. So obviously that's how you know CFL, it's not about the quality of your game. Because you're putting on quality football. I've seen many CFL games. It's amazing, entertaining, quality football. It really is. Almost as good as the NFL. Yet the fans again don't really care that much. So obviously something is not right in your league, right? Oh, Hamilton, yeah. Something is not right. There you go. I would ask the Board of Governors, okay, is quality really the reason why why do you think that your league is not growing? Is it because I'm like, it can't be the quality of your game, because you've been putting on quality football by bringing up all these American guys for years in your league, and you're seeing minimal growth. So obviously, quality is not the issue. It has to be something else. Either the fans of Canada don't care about Canadian football, or they don't really care about your star American players. That's my other answer. That much. They care about them, but they don't care about them the way they care about the Canadian players. That's my point. I don't want to be an asshole say they don't care about them. No, they care about the American players a little bit, obviously, when they're star players. But they don't resonate with them as much as the Canadian players. Like, that's my answer. Some Sarah? Yeah, don't hate him, son. Anyways, here's where I hope you guys on the show. Hope you guys enjoy my CFL videos. I'm saying, peace. Peace out. Don't hate him, son. Hope you guys enjoy this CFL show.